Yo, yo, yo. I'm back, yo. I feel a little bit more ready. I feel a little bit more ready to talk about some things that I didn't feel very ready to talk about before. I'm really interested in getting into. But lastly, I talked about the whole dairy manager demotion at Smith's, and then I got taken out of dairy and put on freight crew. And now, I do want to be clear about something. This whole thing of being demoted and being put on freight crew was not a completely merciless occurring. It wasn't a completely merciless occurrence. They did care about me. They, meaning Todd, the store manager, and Ken, the grocery manager. I knew that they cared about me. It was just hard to. It's hard to feel that caring at the time because I was hurt. I was so frustrated. But they did care for me. I mean, Todd is more so business, but I did feel he did care for me too, in a certain extent. Ken, I did feel he did care for me. Although I do know that he did kind of just go along with things when things had to happen, because he did not kind of stand up and fight the tide. He just, I don't know, it could be wrong, but from my perspective at least, he seemed like he just kind of went with the flow. I don't think there was anything he could have done that would have helped me stay in dairy. And things were falling apart anyway, unfortunately. And I don't want to blame myself for it. I don't blame myself. And I don't blame them either. Well, I do feel pretty frustrated still. And that's fine. I can feel frustrated still. It's totally okay. I'm allowed to feel frustrated. I could feel frustrated forever. That would be fine. Maybe not be ideal. It may not be what I want, but so I got put on freight crew. And they're trying to tell me some good things about me. Oh, it's more money. It's a 50-cent raise, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. I'm just like, trying to look at it positively, because that's all you can do, and that's all I ever do, really. And which people give me crap for sometimes, for being an optimist. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. Yeah, pretty ridiculous. But so I go to freight crew. Totally something I've never done before. I'm working overnight, midnight to 8 a.m. And I'm working with this guy named Harvey. And he's older than me. And he's like a middle-aged dude. He's like an older guy, actually. He's kind of intense, but he's nice. He's intense, but he's open to me. And he's heard good things about me. He's optimistic about me. He has high hopes about me. He's looking forward to working with me. All these things. I think a lot of that had to do with Ken putting in good words for me. I think I really am seeing things that I didn't really see before. Yeah, so there's that. This person is just like trying to get all the way into my backside. It's ridiculous. It's not a place anyone should go, ever. It's anyone, ever. It's ridiculous. Go on, buddy. But yeah, sorry. So I'm working this job. I'm working overnights with training with Harvey, and I realized really quick that your knees on that concrete floor is not fun. You gotta have knee pads. So eventually got knee pads. Started throwing load with them, throwing the grocery load overnight, and started getting into the habit of it and just kind of getting with it and rocking with it. And I started feeling a little better, actually, because I was actually working with people, which was nice. And yeah, it was a lot different than, I'm actually noticing this, and I never noticed this before, you guys. It was actually a benefit working with these other people opposed to working by myself in the dairy department. I was lucky to have people in the store that I liked, that I worked with during the day in dairy. But most of the time, they were just... I was in my own world. I was a lone wolf. I was the only person in dairy working in the cooler all day by myself. So I was pretty lonely. So working at night was nice because I actually had people I was working with. And it was kind of fun. It was actually fun. It actually did become fun. It became very fun at times. Very hard. It was always hard. It was always a struggle. There's always so much stuff going on, so much stress and everything. But... So this was going to be our lives now. This is going to be my life now, Working at night, midnight, graveyard shift, right? And not seemingly something I had a choice in. Something that seemed to be my only choice. And I never comprehended that there was more choices in life than that. I never thought about trying to find another job or pursuing a different department. I just accepted my fate as it was my only option and went along with it, And so, as you can imagine, working graveyard shift puts a strain on your relationship because then you're not sleeping with your partner at night. You're, they are home asleep in bed and you are at work all night, every night, basically, 5 days a week. And it messes with your sleep schedule, of course. Your whole body has to adjust to everything. The whole night and day difference, literally night and day, of working at night. And it was very hard. It was very difficult. It was hard to adjust. But I was determined still because it felt fun. It felt like some kind of hack. It felt like, oh, wow, I'm actually secretly working at night, so therefore I get the whole day to myself every day. That's awesome, right? Wrong. That's what you think. Because you need your sleep, and you have to sleep during the day, and you have to force yourself to do it, and it's hard. But we actually ended up moving to a different apartment, my significant other and I, and a bigger place for cheaper, but farther away. So it was like, and I just remember feeling like, I don't know. At the time, I just felt like, whatever. I don't even care. I care, but I don't even care. It doesn't matter what I say anyway. I was starting to feel powerless at this point. I was starting to feel like I didn't matter, which is very sad. Because it was like, well, this is what she wants. This is what she thinks is best, and she seems like this is what we should do, and this seems like what we should do, I guess. So I guess we should just go ahead and do it, But I didn't have the wherewithal, I guess. I guess I was too mentally exhausted, too fatigued or whatever, to be able to think and figure it out and be like, wait, is this actually what we should do? Is this what we want? Is this what I want? I couldn't do that anymore. I just didn't feel like I had the strength or capacity to do that anymore. And I remember going and looking at different apartments with her and just feeling like, oh my gosh, we're going to go all the way out here? This is nuts. This is nuts. And I always felt like I never felt like I could express to her how much trouble I was having, just with the job and the struggle of the night shift and the day shift and all this stuff. And I never felt like I could explain it. It was too hard to explain. And I never sensed anything from her ever, or heard anything from her ever, really. I mean, actually, I think I can remember her saying a few times here and there that, it was hard sleeping at home alone without me and stuff, at home at night. But realistically, it never even seemed that way to me. I mean, in the long run, it never really felt that way. It felt like, I guess things blurred together or whatever. But eventually I just felt like it doesn't even matter to her. It doesn't affect her. It's not, this is and eventually sometime, I hate to say this, I do hate to say this, because I know that she did love me, and I know that she cared about me and all these things, But sometimes you just feel like a body. You just feel like a body who goes out and works and makes the money and comes home and sleeps and then wakes up and goes and does it again. And comes home and doesn't have a life, has a shell of a life, has a partial broken life. I was really struggling. It was hard. Yeah, it was hard. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to act like there's a whole bunch of really great things going on in life, because there weren't for me. There weren't a lot of really great things going on in life. It was hard because when I was at night, I was at work at night, I'd see the guys. I'd start at midnight, and the store was 24 hours, so you'd see customers come in. And you'd see these young guys come in, a bunch of guys, and they're getting ready to, they're coming in to get some drinks or something. I don't mean like alcohol, but coming to get some Mountain Dew or some sodas or something, or play Call of Duty, or I don't know what they're doing, but they're hanging out, right? They're coming in to get a couple of drinks because they're hanging out with their buddies. They're getting ready to do some stuff. I don't know what they're doing, but they're getting ready to hang out, right? I remember seeing that and being so powerless about doing anything to change my situation, because I just felt like, wow, what are my choices? What are my options? I don't have any options. I don't have any choices. That's how I felt. I felt like I couldn't get another job because I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I had the skills. I didn't feel like I had the confidence, the ability, anything. I didn't feel like I could do any of these other jobs, And that was really hard, That was really hard. And so I felt like I was just trapped, Here I am, 21, 22 years old, working this job. And I remember thinking at the time, man, it's a good thing I'm this age and I have this energy, because if I didn't, there is no way I'd be able to do this. And I just remember it was so exhausting. I mean, it's a job that would keep you in shape, but it was exhausting, and it was so hard on your mind. It was so hard on your mind, hard on your eyes, hard on your brain, hard on your body, working late at night, People are just ridiculous driving. I'm a little extra sensitive, actually. But people are aggressive, I tell you what, boy. And it's just crazy, So, we move into this apartment farther away, bigger place, slightly less money. It didn't even really make any difference in the long run, the difference in the amount saved. It was mostly just the amount of space we had, but then we had a longer drive. So it's like, would I rather live there or at the other place? I would have rather lived somewhere else. Neither of the two places, But after all, I was actually happy in the beginning. That's the sad part. I was happy in the beginning. I was happy in the beginning. The mood all changed. It did. It changed. The mood changed, bro. It got me. They snuck up on me. They got me. The dogs got me. The dogs of life. They came out and got me somehow. So, yeah, struggle. I got back into Magic the Gathering somehow. I don't even know how. I think I was playing games on my phone and stuff or whatever, and I remember I had an iPhone. iPhones came out, and I remember getting an iPhone. I was like, that was so cool. I got an iPhone 4 4G or something like that. That was the first one, and then I got an iPhone 5, iPhone 5S or whatever, and then eventually I got an iPhone 6. But yeah, it's crazy, back in the day. Now we're on iPhone 47 or whatever it is, But I got into Magic the Gathering, which is a card game, and I didn't have anyone to play it with. This is the saddest part. This is such a highlight of these times. I was sad because I had these cards and I had no one to play with, and I would literally make decks and I'd play myself. How sad is that? Set up the cards, get up and then switch around and play myself and try to do that. I was so lonely and so sad, and I was not as sad as it sounds, because I was more burnt out. I was burnt out and didn't have the wherewithal to realize my situation or be able to do anything about it. I felt so powerless. I was addicted to Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty every day, all day, basically. Call of Duty Black Ops, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty's Black Ops 2 when that came out. All this stuff, Call of Duty Ghosts, got a PS4, all this kind of stuff. And just sad, sad, lonely, and tired, and really just didn't feel like I could do much about it. Part of this, I feel like I'm kind of pushing a little bit here and acting like things are a lot worse than they were. But it's tricky because I'm having a hard time explaining this time in my life, because I feel like it was hard because part of me is like, no, you're exaggerating. It wasn't as bad as you're making it sound. But the other part of me is like, no, you're not really being honest with yourself. So I'm just trying to tell you it the best that I can, you know. I did feel lonely. I did feel tired all the time. It was a hard time working this job. Trying to have fun with friends. There was no fun with friends, really. I mean, I still had so much energy and so much exuberance. I was such a bright, beaming, sunny ball of fire, and just exuberance and joy and optimism and endless, boundless energy. And despite this whole situation, and my fiance and then wife was more so just like, really? Seriously? Like, she just was like kind of a Debbie Downer. And it was really hard. Yeah, it was really hard because like I felt like I had all of this energy to do good things and to make a difference and stuff. But I felt like it didn't matter. And I didn't feel like I had anywhere to put it, and not enough, all this energy, but not enough energy to do with anything with it. And so that was my life. And we watched Dexter. We binge watched Dexter, and then that was our show. We started watching shows together, which was cool. But then I started watching my own shows alone when I was home and she was at work. And I started watching 6 Feet Under. Started watching Trailer Park Boys. Eventually we got into Breaking Bad. But it was hard, you know. It's just freaking hard. Trying to make sense of things, trying to do life, trying to be happy, trying to like all this stuff. And like you kind of come to a point where you're like, wait, is this my life? Like, is this my life? You know? And you're like, well, I guess it is my life, you know? And, oh yeah, and this is crazy. This is going to blow your mind. Somewhere in there, I got married. I got married somewhere in there. Like, it was such a blur. And, that was tough. Yeah. What a shame, right? Like, marriages are supposed to be exciting. Marriages are supposed to be, like, exhilarating. They're supposed to be like, oh my gosh, we got married, yeah! That's when we got married, babe. That's when we got married. Yeah, we're still married. Still going strong. And it's like, instead of that, it was like, dog, I feel like I'm signing, this is going to sound so terrible. I feel like I'm signing my execution notice. Maybe not that intense. Maybe that's a little too far, but I just felt like, what choice do I have? I feel like I have to marry her. This sounds horrible. I'm so sorry. Like, for certain people who hear this, I really don't want to hurt your feelings. So please don't listen anymore if this is hurting your feelings. But I did feel really stuck. I felt really stuck and confused because here we are, we're thousands of miles away from where I grew up and everyone I know and my family and everything, everyone I knew, everyone I grew up with. And I'm out here and I guess this is what I have to do. I have to get married because, like, I love this girl, right? And I felt obligated for different reasons, different deep reasons. And it was just very sad ultimately that I felt that way. And she's a wonderful girl. She was and is a very wonderful girl. But at the same time, when you feel like you don't have any options, well, meaning when you feel like your life is going in one direction and you can't stop it and there's nothing you can do, you have to go with it, it makes you feel a certain way, right? Doesn't it make you sit there and think sometimes? Like, you sit there and go, wow, like, I don't know, you're kind of living your own life from third person perspective. You're in your body and you're living it from first person perspective, but it feels like you're third person. Because it just feels like you're there. You're just there, you know? You're just doing it. But there's not much to it. It's how it feels, you know? It's hard. So this was a major struggle. and we did marry, and I thought things were supposed to get better. And they did, I guess, in certain ways they did get better. But in a lot of ways, in many ways, they didn't get better. It just continued to be what it was. And I don't want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, my wife was such a horrible person. I had such a horrible marriage. I had such a horrible life when I got married, all this kind of stuff. I'm not going to say that at all. And here's to hoping my check is in the mail. Please be in here. There's literally nothing in there. My mom must have gotten the mail earlier. Hopefully. Or maybe there's just no mail today. But either way, I don't think my check's here, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm not trying to act like she was a horrible person. She wasn't a horrible person. But everybody has issues, right? I've got my issues. She had her issues. I had my issues. All these kinds of things. Everybody's got issues, right? Just part of life. It's just life. It's literally life. We have issues. And yeah, so it was a total struggle. And I didn't know what to make of it. Oh man, it feels so good to be home and just sit still. Feels so good to be home with a little asterisk at the end. Because like, I wish things were different. I wish my life was different. But I have a lot to be grateful for. And I'm very thankful for it. But so yeah, it was really hard. And again, these mounting feelings I had ultimately added up to me feeling like there was nothing I could do about it. I felt like there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing I could do about it. I felt stuck. I felt trapped. I felt optionless. I felt limited. I felt concluded. This sounds so horrible, right? You're supposed to be happy. And good things, happy things are supposed to make you happy. But I wasn't really happy. And we went on our honeymoon. And I just remember thinking, like, all these things were supposed to be so much better than they ended up being. I was like, this was supposed to be amazing. But it's not. I couldn't say that. I could never say that. Ever. I couldn't even hint at any of those feelings, right? That's the worst. That's one of the worst parts. Not being able to express your feelings. Feeling a trillion things and not being able to express them. It's freaking hard. Really freaking hard. No wonder. No wonder I am the way I am, basically. But, basically, it's so freaking hard. I've gotten better at it, but still, it's like so hard, you know? When you're dealing with that kind of stuff. And, yeah, so rinse and repeat every day. And, for a year or two, we were in that apartment for a year or two. I just remember feeling sad. There were very few little things that brought me happiness. Very few little things. And I used to watch the Capitals. We had the channels to watch the Capitals games. That was a huge plus. We had internet. I had Call of Duty. I had a sweet computer. I had a nice guitar. But these things were just kind of like... These things were nice, but it didn't matter, really. It didn't really matter in the long run, because it was like, these things are just nice to have, you know. These things will never take the place of the things that you need, you know. When you need something and you don't have it and you're not getting it and you can't get it, or you're not getting it, or you just don't know how to get it and you're not getting it, all these other little things don't really amount to much. They don't really add up. It doesn't really mean much in the end, you know. It's little luxuries in life. And so, it was a really hard time. And eventually, we ended up getting a house. Her grandmother's cousin was pretty well off in a way, which was a loaded thing, which I think this kind of explains a lot of our situation. I think there's a lot of heartbreak in Reno, honestly. A lot of sadness in Reno. There definitely is. I mean, the gambling addiction, the alcoholism is super high. The divorce rate is super high, right? I think everyone goes to Reno to get divorced, right? Basically. That was one of the blessings that the divorce wasn't that hard to get. I guess, which is so freaking hard. Like, what the heck? That's so freaking sad. You know, that's so freaking sad. So I'm gonna end it here, you guys. Sorry, it's not a happy note really, but it's happy because I'm not in those situations anymore. I'm not there anymore. I'm not dealing with this stuff anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. So I feel a lot better because I'm not doing that anymore, right? So really, I just have to figure out if there's anything in my life that I'm doing now that's similar or the same. Good question, right? Good question. Short answer, quick answer, no. I'm not in that situation anymore. Are there things I'd like to change in my life? Abso-freaking-lutely. Are there certain things I feel powerless about? Abso-freaking-lutely. Am I going to do something about it anyway? Abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely, I am. So, but, yeah. I could talk about some more stuff. I just remember going to the grocery store with her during the day and shopping and being sad. Literally being sad. Going to the grocery store and shopping. It is so sad. It's so sad to think about. But just being sad, like, feeling like a shell of myself. Feeling like I'm living this life, but I don't even know why. I'm working this job and I don't really even know why. What's because we have to pay our bills and stuff. Well, yeah, but I just don't feel like I have much meaning in life, or I feel like a really strong emptiness. And my wedding pictures, I look pretty rough in my wedding pictures for sure. My mom was legitimately worried for me based on the pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, mommy, leave me alone. Oh my gosh. Like, my mom is crazy sometimes. Like, she says stuff to me. Like, she has the ability to say things that are just, like, insane. But at the same time, they're also partially true. Like, when I was a vegetarian for a year, right? And I was losing weight and everything. She was like, Justin, I'm worried about you. You look like you have cancer. And I was like, Mommy, you can't just say that. It's like, you can't say that to people. You can't just say that to people. You can't say, you look like you have cancer. That's totally a not acceptable thing to say, right? But there was so much truth to it, honestly and sadly. And I needed to hear that, unfortunately. And, I wasn't getting the nutrition I needed. I wasn't getting a lot of the things I needed. I was a skeleton. I did have cancer in a way. Of the soul, basically, in a lot of ways. Unfortunately. But, yeah, I need to get off of here because life is more than just sitting here making recovery videos, therapeutic videos, whatever videos. I'm home. It's my first time home early in like this whole week, so I'm thankful. Nobody else is here. I'm thrilled. I can be myself. I can relax. I can enjoy some peace and quiet. So that's what I'm going to do. Enjoy some solitude.